Now to New York City, where President Biden will speak this morning before the United Nations General Assembly. His speech is expected to address several topics, including global health, food insecurity, and it's also expected to rally allies to back Ukraine in their war with Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to speak to the UNGA by video. And breaking news overnight, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a partial mobilization, setting the stage for the escalation of the war in Ukraine and taking over integral parts of Russia. It's been nearly 7 months since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Our Dre Clark is in New York with more on President Biden's address. Dre, yesterday you set up all of geopolitics in about 3 minutes. We're going to ask you to do it again. Good morning.
Let's do a take two, and good morning to you, Mitch. President Biden is scheduled to speak at 10:35 this morning. That's Eastern Standard Time. He had been scheduled to speak on yesterday, but that had to be pushed back a day because, as you know, the president had to travel back to the U.S. from London, where he attended the Queen's funeral on Monday, along with many other world leaders who are now here in New York City for the UN's General Assembly meeting. Now, the war in Ukraine with Russia will take up much of the president's remarks today when he addresses those world leaders. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the president will rebuke Russia's invasion of Ukraine and call on the world to continue standing together against Vladimir Putin's aggression. The president believing that Putin's continued assault on Ukraine shows he's not interested in diplomacy, but rather in autocracy, where he and he alone rules everything. The U.S. so far has provided Ukraine with $15 billion in aid, and the president will urge member nations at the UN today to help arm Ukraine in its ongoing war with Russia. Meanwhile, in another area of concern for the president is China. Alleged human rights abuses in China, tensions with Taiwan, and global economic impacts could all be talking points for the president today. The communication between the U.S. and China has been frail at best, and it did not help when the president said in a recent interview that U.S. troops would defend Taiwan against Beijing if there is a military conflict. We should mention that both Russia's and China's president will not be in attendance today for the president's speech. Instead, they sent a team of diplomats to listen in. Now, the president will also talk about global food insecurity and lay out his overall vision for foreign policy. Another big discussion this week will be climate control. And the president is being criticized by some for not attending a roundtable discussion on the issue. Instead, he will send John Kerry, who is his special envoy on climate. Many people say the president's absence reflects that he has a lack of interest in the issue of climate control. However, the White House is quick to push back, saying that the president's record is clear, and it is something that he has a lot of concern about, but he has other meetings happening today, and so instead he will send John Kerry.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.